We have a problem, Batman. Gotham needs you again.
You speak of peace, yet your peace depends on persuading others to accept your vision. It makes me wonder, is your dream of harmony really about them, or about you needing control over the chaos?
Control is a crude word. I don't seek to chain the chaos, I seek to integrate it. Every mind is a storm, conflicting impulses, unprocessed wounds, violent desires. When those storms crash against each other, we call it history, war, blood. My dream is not to erase difference, but to weave it into a pattern that prevents annihilation. If that requires guidance, then so be it. Better guided harmony than the endless repetition of slaughter.
Guidance sounds like a euphemism for domination. You can enter minds, shape thoughts, nudge outcomes. Do you ever question whether your so-called peace is just another tyranny, polished and polite?
Every structure of order carries the scent of tyranny. Governments, courts, even your crusade in the streets, they all impose. The question is not whether imposition exists, but whether it preserves dignity. When I guide, I am not dictating words into mouths. I am amplifying the whisper already in them, the one that longs not to kill, not to hate. Tyranny silences. I listen, and if sometimes I must tilt the balance, it is not to dominate, but to remind them of the part of themselves they continually ignore.
And what of freedom? If you tilt the scale, the choice is no longer theirs. Isn't your dream hollow if it requires you to trespass on the very autonomy you claim to protect?
Freedom is not absolute, it never has been. The body is a prison, genetics a script, culture a cage. Choice is already compromised before I ever arrive. What I do is intervene in those compromises. You mistake absence of intervention for purity. But purity is a myth. We are always shaped by forces beyond us. If I bend a thought, it is only to loosen the grip of darker forces already bending harder. Perhaps the dream is hollow. But isn't every dream hollow until someone dares to fill it?
You frame yourself as a counterforce to darker influences. But how do you distinguish between correction and corruption? What stops you from becoming the very shadow you claim to dispel?
Nothing stops me. That is the burden. Every day I live in proximity to that edge. I could corrupt with ease, sculpt obedience, erase dissent. The temptation is constant. What restrains me is not certainty of righteousness, but awareness of fragility. I know I can fall. That awareness demands vigilance. Corruption begins the moment one ceases to question oneself. I question myself endlessly, and if one day I fail, then I will become the shadow. That possibility is the price of holding such power.
Questioning isn't the same as accountability. You answer only to yourself. If your restraint collapses, no one can stop you. Isn't that the definition of danger?
It is danger, yes, I will not deny it. But so is every weapon carried by those who swear they wield it for justice. You, for instance, operate outside law, answer to no council, no democracy. Who restrains you, Batman? No one. You cloak yourself in principle, as I do. Perhaps the real truth is that civilization survives on dangerous individuals who police themselves. You distrust me because my weapon is thought itself, but is a blade at the throat less invasive than a whisper in the mind?
A blade can be resisted, disarmed, avoided. A whisper in the mind erases resistance before it forms. That makes your weapon more insidious, not less. How do you justify stripping someone of the very struggle that defines them?
Struggle defines, yes, but it also destroys. Do you romanticize the addict's spiral, the fanatic's obsession, the soldier's trauma? Their struggles shape them, but they also break them. Sometimes intervention preserves the possibility of becoming. It is not about erasing the struggle, but redirecting it before it collapses into ash. The line between aid and theft is thin. I know that, but do not mistake every act of guidance for erasure. Sometimes the whisper prevents the scream.
You say prevention, but prevention can sterilize. By shielding people from collapse, don't you rob them of the chance to rise from it? Isn't suffering the crucible of strength?
Suffering forges strength, yes, but it also forges cruelty, apathy, nihilism. Not all who suffer emerge noble, many emerge monstrous. If strength is bought by the misery of countless others, is it strength, or is it theft? You idolize the crucible because you survived yours. Survivors always romanticize survival. My dream is not to sterilize humanity, but to reduce the number broken beyond repair. If even one child can grow without being shattered into an adult who scars others, then my interference is worth its cost.
So you measure worth by outcomes. Peace for some, trespass against others. Mercy in your hands, but at the price of freedom. Tell me, Professor, when the day comes where peace demands you erase everything people are, will you still call it harmony?
If that day comes, then harmony will be nothing more than silence, and I will deserve every condemnation spoken or unspoken against me. But until that silence arrives, I will chase a dream, however compromised. Because even a fractured dream is better than surrendering to nightmares.
A fractured dream can be more dangerous than a nightmare. At least nightmares end when you wake.
And dreams, Batman, begin again every time we dare to close our eyes.